Sometimes movies are just fun to watch and there's absolutely nothing beneficial to them. Other times, there are great fictional stories that have been created to help teach a point. And then, there are those movies based on a true story that have a way of changing the way we think about life. Great movies come from great stories. Talk about being the kind of man they remember when we're gone. How about being the kind of man they make a movie about when we're gone? Today, we talk about some of the movies that have had an impact on who we are as men. You're listening to the Man They Remember podcast, where we are encouraging men to be the kind of man they'll remember when we're gone. Find us online at mantheyremember.com or facebook.com/mantheyremember and join the Facebook group on that page. Thank you for sharing, liking, subscribing, and leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. Now, time for the show. Hello, everyone. Great to have you today with us for another episode of the Man They Remember podcast.
Yeah, we missed last week. I was kind of bummed.
That was a first for us where we had a week out, but do our best. We're in summer months, so everyone's schedules are going to be all over the map.
Take off on us.
But so episode 9 of the Man They Remember podcast, where we're encouraging, teaching, equipping, training, building up. I don't know what the right word is. Men to be the kind of men they'll remember when they're gone. Yeah, that's the kind of the tagline.
Yeah,
something in there. But anyway, we've been enjoying our opportunity to talk with you, and we'd love to hear from you. If you're listening to the podcast, you can go to mantheyremember.com. Facebook.com/mantheyremember is a great place to interact with us a little bit, and also trying to build up a group there. And if you don't mind, spread the word, leave a review, especially a written review. We really appreciate those. That helps other people find the podcast, and it helps people know that people listen. So if you're willing to do that, we really appreciate it. But it's Russ and I today, so two of us. This is the first time we've only had two of us here, but we're going to do it anyway.
Yeah, we went from having too many to...
Yeah. But it's better than just listening to me talk the whole time, so I think that'll be good. But Russ was kind of filling me in on some of the stuff he's dealing with right now, just when we were getting ready to hit the record button.
Yeah.
And some life planning, some big decisions you're having to make.
Yeah, big decisions. Yeah, we met with a financial planner this afternoon, or this morning, I guess, and trying to figure out retirement plans and figure out a new, different phase of my life, our life. It just seems... It feels old.
Yeah, and you were talking about, struggling, letting go of that, it's been your identity for so long as your career.
I know. I've been at the company I work for 37 years, so it's been quite a while.
Right.
And, it's been a great company to work for because I've been able, it's a large company, and I work in maintenance there, so I've been able to move around a lot. I've been able to work in different departments, so it really has felt like I've had about 4 different jobs, completely starting over and relearning. Wow. So it's been interesting. It's kept me challenged, and just working on tools that are in the high-tech industry are challenging because they're just constantly growth and change, and you've seen a lot of change in that industry. And from the early 80s when I started to now in the
it's the microprocessor, or is it
we make silicon wafers for and then we make them for your PCs and your phones and your cars and your computers.
Those have changed a lot.
Yes,
since the 80s.
Yep, lots of change for sure. So it's been a great career, but like I said, all things need to come to an end sometime, and kind of making some plans, see if we can make that happen.
So what's your process for making the decision? How are you weighing those options?
I don't know. Coins work well. I'll probably end up listening to my wife, who is very she's ready for me to be done.
Right.
She's kind of ready to have me finish this thing off. And I'm doing this, and I'm really hoping my boss isn't listening to this.
He doesn't know yet.
He doesn't. No, we haven't.
So we got to keep this on the down low.
We haven't talked about that at all. So I think that would. Yeah, that's gonna. Yeah, because he relies on a few of us a lot to
Right.
get stuff done. 'Cause we've been there a long time and we
Right.
know how to fix stuff and keep it going. And, like all companies, they don't plan for people to ever leave. And so,
Right.
so it's going to be,
Well,
it'll be a
and-
challenge for them for sure.
Yeah, but there's something, especially in your field, that can't be replicated even with training now. I mean, you've been there for the whole 30 years that the whole industry basically became a thing.
Yeah.
And so you've been a part of the machinery for that entire process. That's not something that you can really just even train someone. You can't write down all the stuff that you know after having worked on that.
I know.
For years.
I've forgotten more than I know.
Right.
But it literally is so different, it's, like I said, there's so many things now that, you use technology to fix technology now versus, but kind of, when I started, it was like all in your brain how you had to fix it. Now there's just a lot of, utilities that I use on my computer, or, that I, literally it's so different the way I work on stuff now compared to what I did even 5 years ago, to where I'm constantly just using my computer to fix another system, right? Kind of some utility that's, that a company's developed that I can go in and make a bunch of stuff happen and program some things and do some things and or at least figure out a direction to go to diagnose it, so it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's definitely a challenge.
Well, yeah, that's interesting to me because, I apologize if this hits you the wrong way, but I don't perceive you as being one of the most technologically advanced people that I know.
I know, I'm not. I don't, I don't enjoy it. I do it for a living and I do pretty well at it.
Yeah.
But, when on my time off, it's not anything like you love this stuff, right? This is like you love technology, you love it.
Over the last year, it stopped being as much fun.
Yeah.
When it became so much work through the pandemic, then the fun of it kind of wore off. But I do still enjoy, especially this podcasting and stuff.
Yeah, a lot of the we're using a lot of the Apple products and a lot of that kind of, we don't use a lot of that at work, we're mostly PC kind of stuff. So, and like I said, it's mostly kind of using utilities. And so it really is two different platforms of what, we're doing here with a lot of, Apple products and at work where it's a lot of PC stuff. So, and like I said, it just becomes, it's nothing, I use it as a tool to work on it, but it's nothing that, if I'm at home, I'd rather be working with wood or working around love working outside or I love biking and riding and, and running and stupid stuff like that, so it just isn't anything that I dig to just, learn it at home kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, I used to really be into computers, especially probably back in the early 2000s, probably through about 2010. I would build all my own computers.
Wow,
I'd go piece them all out at the there's a store over E&U, I think is what it was called, over in Portland, and you could go and you could kind of pick and choose from motherboards and memory and video cards and all that stuff and cases and I enjoyed that for a while, but I don't know. Once I became, probably what happened was I ended up working at a church where they only used Mac products, and you can't build your own Mac, so you can only build your own PCs.
Gotcha.
So and I've been using Mac ever since.
Yeah.
Not that I think they're as great as everyone else who uses them thinks, because I've had as many problems on Macs as I've had on PCs. They're very much not perfect computers. I've had hard drives crash. I've had all kind, I've had motherboards. I've had, it was my last computer had the motherboard die twice. My last laptop, the one before that, the motherboard died. So it's like they're not.
Yeah, they're not
actually, I
bulletproof.
think the one before that, the motherboard died. So they're definitely not great. For the longevity, everything's going to break eventually. But
right,
yeah. So we're talking about we're taking a turn from our serious topics and going to have a little fun today. Have a little more of a lighthearted conversation.
I'm looking forward to this conversation. It'll be interesting to see how this goes.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about movies, and we're going to talk specifically 3 of our favorite movies and lessons they teach us for being men, or what it means to be a man, or I don't know. We don't have to be super specific with it. It doesn't have to be like these are principles that only apply to men. But at first I had said your 3 favorite guy movies. But our next episode is going to be about stereotypes. And so I thought, well, we probably shouldn't, say that you're not a real guy if you don't like these movies.
Yeah.
So I switched one of mine out. Because there are a lot of movies that I like. I like movies that have a good story. I don't care what genre they are. Now I do like, and this is we've joked a lot about this. I don't know what it says about me. I like apocalyptic movies.
Okay.
So right now, Becky and I are actually rewatching The Walking Dead.
Oh.
Going back through it. So that's kind of the style I like.
Okay.
End of the world.
I think I had to stop on that one at season 3. I was like getting too into that. It was like, I'm just like thinking about this too much. So I had to like back off of that one. This is like, it was just like, and they killed off like one of my favorite characters. Right. So I go, okay, I'm done.
Right.
It was a good excuse just to be done. You know, I kind of wait for that thing. You killed off my favorite guy. I'm done.
Right. So spoiler alert, but was it Glenn?
Yes, Glenn.
Yeah, I think so he made it into like 6th or 7th season.
Oh, did he?
But that's
I didn't even watch the season that he got killed.
Okay.
Because I heard that it happened, and I was going to catch up on it, and I go, nah, I'm done.
Right.
It was a good excuse just to be done.
Well, that's where Becky and I stopped watching the first time around, and so where we live, we don't have good enough internet to be able to stream things. So we have to we go back through old TV shows is basically what we do, and so we've kind of gone through all the ones that we liked. And we can get The Walking Dead for free from the library. So we've gone back through. We're almost through season 6 right now. And so I think Glenn is about to die.
Oh, he's just about done.
Just about to get
it. The sad part was he survived one like pretty horrific thing.
He survived several of them. Yeah. I mean, like, he got trapped a couple times. There's that one, he gets trapped under the dumpster.
Yeah, it's like he was for sure done. I think they finished a season off with him trapped there or something. Yeah.
So, but a lot of people loved Glenn and stopped watching when Glenn got killed off. But they argued they were following the comic book, and I guess that's what happens in the comic book.
Oh, gotcha.
So that was why
I didn't know there was a comic book. See, that's how much I know about this thing.
Right. So those are the kind of movies I like, but I like movies that have good stories. Like Remember the Titans. It's one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah,
it's just a good story. Rudy, another great story. That's a football movie. Guys would probably like those movies. I'm trying to think. It's a Wonderful Life is my all-time favorite. We're not going to talk about that today. But that's like an epic story.
Yeah, that one just, seasonal though.
Right, yeah.
So you like Christmas. You like Christmas in July though.
I was listening to Christmas music yesterday.
Yeah, you're like, something's wrong with you.
I made the boys listen to it with me on the way home from church yesterday evening. But we'll talk about It's a Wonderful Life towards Christmas time. We'll save that for Christmas. But lots of great stories. But let's see. You want to go first? You want to?
I can if that's what you want. I'm a big kind of historical war. Yeah. I like the big heroes that don't necessarily look like heroes.
Right.
But just kind of come in and have there's a cause that they rally behind, and they end up being heroes by default, really,
right.
kind of because they're just
kind of no one else to do the job.
Yeah. They just kind of step in and become become that hero. And these are classics, right? Ones that you can watch over and over and over again. One of my first one, probably my first pick, the one always comes to. I could probably sit down and watch it once a week if I were given the chance, is like Gladiator with Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
I mean, just probably my all-time.
It's got great music.
Yeah, he's man's man.
Yeah.
But just quiet but I think the thing that I like the most about that movie is the kind of leader that Russell Crowe portrays. Is this quiet leader that just commands respect because of his demeanor, because of the way he leans into his men, because of the way he leads, right?
Right.
All the guys just absolutely 100% respected him. His whole the whole Roman army that he was leading at the time when he was in Germania. You know, they really portrayed that he was just this leader that stepped in. He was a frontline guy. You know that. And there was no question that, you know, and I love leaders like that. You know, I'd love to be a leader like that. You know, a guy that just people look at and just say, hey, I follow you because I respect you, you know. So
yeah, the frontline leader. That's kind of what you were saying.
Yes.
You know, the frontline man. You know, someone who's willing to put themselves in harm's way for others, as opposed to calling the shots from the back or something like that. Yeah.
Right.
That's a great example.
I was listening to a John Maxwell I think it was a John Maxwell deal where they were talking about I can't what general was he talking about? Patton? No. Anyway, one of the generals at the point in time where there was a young man who had gotten hurt in a minefield, right? And they could see that he was still alive, you know. So I can't remember the guy's name, the general's name, but he.
So we talked about Schwarzkopf.
Yeah. Did we talk? Did we talk on this? Yeah, it was on this episode. That's where you brought it up. Yeah. Schwarzkopf, where he went into the minefield. Right. That was that same kind of a leader. Right. That's right. That's where we were talking about
risking his own life for someone else.
Sorry, I gave John Maxwell credit, and it was you.
No, it was John Maxwell.
Oh, John Maxwell. Okay, through
you.
From
a John Maxwell book. Yeah. But. Yeah. So I love that movie. I watched bits and pieces of it a little while ago. It was on TV. I love the music from it. That's the one that's
great.
I've got that. I bought that soundtrack on CD years and years ago, and just it's actually. I think it was Hans Zimmer. I think it was Hans Zimmer who did the music for Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
And my boys were walking through when I was watching that movie, or they were in the other room or something, and they said, "Are you watching Pirates of the Caribbean?" No, but it's the same composer.
I don't have to go home and watch that tonight because it's just such a, it just brings all kind of I love that leader kind of mentality, you know.
Yeah. So one of mine is The Martian. Have you seen The Martian?
I don't think you might brought that up before we started here, and I don't think I may have. Is this really super old?
No.
Martian with I have seen that. Matt Damon.
Yeah, Matt Damon.
Yeah, I did see that.
Matt Damon's
really
one of my favorites. I love Matt. But yeah, I love it's all fiction, of course, not a real story.
Right.
But I love what he says at the end of the movie when he's talking to the class. Well, he said this while he was on Mars. I love this. It's one of my kids and I's favorite quotes. He says they haven't seen the movie, but they've seen this part of it. He said, "It's been 7 days since I ran out of ketchup." It's just a hilarious line.
Yeah, that was
in the context.
He did have a lot of really. That was a good movie.
Right.
I did like that.
Yeah. But at the end of it, when he's teaching the class, he says, "If you solve enough problems, you get to come home." And so that's kind of the theme of the movie. It's just like one problem after another, and they just keep solving problems all the way up until the very end when he's rescued. Right? There's a problem all the way till the end.
Yeah, sling him out into space and try to do the space catch.
And he has to do Iron Man, and stuff like that. But that's such a good because it's so easy. In life, but on projects, like you have problem after problem after problem. Yeah. Eventually, it's just like, I'm going to give up. I'm not going to figure this thing out.
Yeah.
But if you solve enough problems, you get to go home. You figure it out.
Yeah. And that was the whole group team effort thing where these guys, his astronaut team,
right? Yeah.
Just would not say quit. Right.
Mm-hmm.
They were willing to put their lives completely on the line to come back to get him, right? Mm-hmm. Meaning that none of them may survive, right? But they were willing to not do that, And we talk again. That was kind of the Schwarzkopf thing. Are we willing to kind of step out and lead the way? I think there must be something. I don't know if that's just a guy thing. I mean, like I said, not meaning to stereotype, but is there that sense that we like that? We like to see that.
Well, I think it's an honor thing.
Yeah,
I think we see that as an honorable, an honorable man. That's, is someone who's willing to lay their lives down for others, and we want to follow that.
Yeah,
I think there's something naturally. We naturally desire that. Yeah.
We're both reading the book Love and Respect, to try to be better husbands. It's an awesome book. And that whole thing is that he talks about that in one of the chapters is that we're built to, want respect, but the whole thing is that we're built to want to, that whole respect is we're willing to die for our wives, right? We're willing to go out and not willing to do the dishes, but willing to die for die for our wives. Hey, is this call for dying? Okay, I'm in. Is this call for doing the dishes or changing a diaper? I'm not so much.
Right? Yeah, that's funny. So what's your next movie?
My next movie would be probably on the lines, again, another one of those, the ones that always come to mind. This one's a Mel Gibson one, is The Patriot.
Yeah.
I like that. Just a family man, a dad who is, obviously seen battle, but now he's choosing to kind of walk away and be a family guy and lead his family. And he tries everything he can to kind of stay out of conflict, and just wants to be a family man, and he gets drawn in because one of his kids get killed, and he's just drawn into it, and then and it becomes that whole family. Okay, this changed, right? This is now, you've made this personal, right? And so then it becomes a personal, and yet, fighting for his country and whatever, but he didn't want that. He was willing to, he's willing to kind of step back, and family became more important than anything else until they stepped over a line and took the life of one of his kids, and then it was like, okay, it's all over with, so.
Well, yeah, and you could argue that he was still doing it for his family.
Yeah.
He wanted to end the war so that no more people in his family would have to die, no more loved ones, so. Yeah, another great movie with great music too.
Yeah. You're all about the music.
I do love the music. I always listen to the soundtracks.
Yeah.
I think it's really the music that makes these movies, because if you put the wrong music, I mean, you listen to that, if you take The Patriot and you try to put the music from, like I don't know, just some kind of hip hop soundtrack, like Eminem's 8 Mile movie, you put that in there. You don't care about The Patriot anymore.
Yeah,
it's just it's not a movie you're going to watch.
True. But, and I think too, it's how it's portrayed too. Like I said, I have a hard time watching a movie just personally that's got a lot of really poor, bad language in it. Right. So if you take a movie that it can even be okay, that's probably appropriate. That's probably the way they talk. But if they do that, it just takes it away from me. I like where the guy is more I don't know. That's just me. Maybe just his language is more wholesome and more, I just don't feel like I need to throw all that in. It just really turns me off. A lot of times I'll turn it off if it's even could be great music, but it's like just not, I just can't see the plot through the language. Right.
It's a hurdle.
Yeah. It's a hurdle for me.
So another one of mine is Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, that's a great one. Another Matt Damon.
Yeah, I do like Matt Damon.
I'm a Mel Gibson. You're Matt Damon.
Matt Damon, Tom Hanks, Will Smith. Those are probably my top three. I actually like Dwayne Johnson too. He's climbing up my charts on favorite actors.
Oh yeah, Dwayne. Yeah. Did you watch that one I told you about Runaway?
No, I haven't. watched
you gotta
it
watch that.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite Dwayne Johnson movies.
Yeah, we'll have to put that in the queue.
Yeah, but I'm not kidding. That's not one of my three though. But that was pretty good.
Yeah. So I like historical movies. Now my dad, like to a fault, would watch the historical movies, and he would watch all of them. And I just remember growing up, and Dad always had these old black and white war movies on, and they were just mostly boring. Like if you didn't care about what was happening, if you didn't have some kind of connection to it, I think you would watch the movie and think, this isn't a very good movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But one of the things I really like is when a lot of the newer movies, they're taking these historical events and they're making them great films, like Saving Private Ryan or The Patriot, or I just had another one in mind, but I really like this one because of the how it's themed, and kind of bookended with the guy in the graveyard beginning and the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And it starts off with him, falling to his knees, and asking and telling his wife to say, "Tell me I've lived a good life."
Yeah.
And then or that was maybe at the end.
That was at the end of the movie.
But at the beginning, he said, when he comes to the tombstone, he says, "Every day I think about what you said to me that day on the bridge, and I've tried to live my life the best I could. I hope that was enough."
Yeah.
It's like, and it's just,
how do you ever live up to that one?
Right.
How do you live up to the whole battalion or a whole bunch of guys giving their
lots
lives
of guys,
for you?
Guys,
that'd be a tough one to live up to.
Yeah.
I don't think I could even live up to one person giving his life.
Yeah, and how would you? You come home from war.
Yeah.
And then you've got a guy. I mean, you've got that hanging over your head. A great guy gave his life so you could be alive.
Married man,
right? Teacher, just a good guy.
Yeah.
And so someone gave his life for you, and now you have to try to live up to that somehow.
Yeah.
But it's just, I think, a great purpose, perspective kind of a film that you can look at it and say, oh, how am I living my life? That's what I like about a movie. Like, if I watch a movie and it makes me think about my life and kind of changes my perspective on how I'm living, then that's a good movie I'm going to watch again.
Yeah, that's good.
So what's your third?
I'm kind of torn here, and I might give you two. Because my first one that I kind of instantly thought of again, but it's kind of in the same genre as Braveheart. That's another Mel Gibson. Again.
Yeah, you got to go with something besides Mel Gibson.
Yeah, I know it. I was kind of thinking, I just one of those movies light. I could watch it 100 times. Is Princess Bride.
Okay.
That's not. I remember when someone wanted me to sit down and watch this thing. I said, really? It looks ridiculous, but it's just got such a great storyline.
You think so?
Yeah, I like it. I enjoy the storyline,
See, I've only watched it once, and I'll probably get hated for this, but I don't like it.
Oh, really?
No.
I just, I like the, Wesley, I'll probably kill you in the morning.
I did think there were a few funny things.
There was a lot of funny stuff.
But see, what happened for me was I'd never seen it my whole life, all the way into college. And people were telling me it's the funniest movie you ever watched. It's like the absolute funniest movie.
Oh, so you got a big lead up.
Yeah, so they built it up to like it's going to be like this epic comedy. I'm sitting there, and it's like there's a couple of chuckle moments for me, but no real laugh out loud moments. And I'm like, this isn't that funny. But I think if you experienced it authentically for the first time and your mind was truly open to it, then it would probably be.
I can't really give you a good reason as to why I like it. It's a fun movie to watch. It's the romance, and then they kind of really make fun of it, but the whole Maoist,
right.
Just the whole thing is I just enjoy the story,
right.
Of the whole villain and the just it's pretty funny,
right? Well, but it reached some kind of a tipping point culturally where everyone knows those lines.
Yeah,
it's like I hadn't ever seen Star Wars, the original 3 Star Wars movies, but I knew all about Luke, I am your father, and I knew the basic capstone of the series, even though I hadn't seen it, because it just kind of reached that cultural tipping point.
Right.
So my last movie is a movie some people might not have heard of, but it's called About Time. Now there are a couple of unsavory scenes, I'll say. It's not a lot of sex and stuff in it, but stuff I would skip over. But the message of it is great. So I'm going to ruin it for you if you're listening. So spoiler alert, just skip past this part if you want to watch it. But I guess I should ask you, is it all right if I ruin it for you?
Yeah, I may not see it, but I'm kind of funny about that. I can hear about a movie, but it still doesn't seem to ever ruin it for me.
Okay.
I don't, it doesn't, I suppose it would if there was, like the main hero gets, if you told me at season 1 that on Walking Dead that Glenn was going to die in season 6, I'd probably stop even then.
Right.
As soon as I like the guy, I can't see.
Right.
I'd be thinking about, okay, when's he going to die? I just don't want to. I didn't want to know. I would have done.
Right. But so it's a father-son movie, which is one of the things I really like about it. The relationship between the father and son is great. But the son on his 21st birthday learns that the men in their family can travel through time.
Oh.
But it's specific. They can only travel back in time. They can't go forward, and they can only go back into their own lives. So like they can go back into something they remember and basically go back to that moment.
Oh, okay.
In time.
So 21 years is all he's got.
Right. And so. So then the movie kind of becomes about this kid trying to fix things in his life and fix things in his sister's life, who gets hooked up with the wrong guy and that kind of a thing. And but over the course of the movie, it's just his dad comes back to him and says, now I really want to share with you the real kicker, like as if learning to travel through time wasn't the big one, and And what the father did is, so what I want you to do is I want you to, to live every day, and then that night go back to the beginning of that day and live that day again, but just appreciating everything about the day, learning to see everything about the day and appreciate it as all the things you might have missed the first time through. So he does that for a while, and then at the end of it, it says, in the end, I think I've learned the final lesson from my travels in time, and I've even gone one step further than my father did. The truth is, I now don't travel back at all, not even for the day. I just try to live every day as if I've deliberately come back to this one day to enjoy it as if it was the full, final day of my extraordinary, ordinary life.
Wow.
It's like, and I mean, that's one of those movies that every time I watch it, it almost makes me cry. Just
about
like that
time.
Yeah, it just gives you that perspective of be present.
Yeah.
This is one of the things I've really failed at a lot of times as a father, is being present with my kids and being present in the home and not pursuing things. And it's like, live today as if it's your last day. Live today as your final day. What would you do?
Yeah, that's great. Because I did now, like in the premise of the movie, is there like, if he travels back, does he lose a whole day of his life to travel back a day, or just minutes, seconds?
He doesn't lose any time.
Okay, so it just
whenever he comes back, he's right back where I guess he left. I was thinking, any time travel movie, you start wrestling with the logic of it.
He comes back in the same exact second that he left.
Right. But they do address a few things about time travel that I hadn't thought about that make you think a little bit differently about time travel. So I think it's worth watching. If you can watch like an edited for TV, version of it, then you'd be pretty safe. You can look it up on IMDb and go to the Parents Guide, and you can usually find the times where he's in a museum and there's some nude pictures behind him. That's the one thing, and then one sex scene with what becomes his wife, which is pretty culturally normal in our day, but still something I don't want to watch. But when you can tell when it's coming, you can just skip a minute and get past that. But if you can skip past those sections, I'd highly recommend watching that movie. About Time.
Who's in that one? Anybody?
I'm not good with character names. It's the girl that was in The Notebook.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
And then the guy wasn't real famous.
Okay.
But,
okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to kind of check that out. Rylan, actually, the one that usually runs the computer, is down from jaw surgery, so he's all been watching a lot of
puffy.
Stuff. Yeah.
Looks like he got stung by a bee.
Yeah, looks like he was in a pretty
fight.
bad MMA fight, actually.
But he's doing okay today.
Yeah,
right?
he's. I haven't talked to him today, but they kind of said that day 3 and 4 would be the worst, and he said 4 was pretty bad, but not out of control. They the doctor told him, you're going to really hate life, hate me, hate everything about what you did on day 4 and day 3. But he said it got, he said his pain got to about a 4 or 5, but then yesterday he seemed to be doing better, so. He didn't, this is going to be, it'll be, his jaw is rubber band closed for 8 weeks. So it'll be interesting to see how that all works.
It's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, it'll be a challenge for him for sure.
A life-shaping event.
Yeah, no kid, just literally, his jaw got reshaped. Cut in 6 places and reattached. He'll look totally different.
Right. But hope and pray you recover really quickly, Rylan, and you don't experience the pain that some of the other people feel.
Yeah. So we've got a doctor's appointment for him tomorrow, so we'll see how that's going. So go over to that.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up there. I don't know. But you can find us online, mantheyremember.com, facebook.com/mantheyremember. And we have a group there. Subscribe on your favorite podcast app. And the best compliments you can give us are to leave a written review on Apple's podcast, or to just tell someone, share with someone about our podcast and invite them to listen in. But until next time, we hope you have a great week. Take care. Help us create a better League of Men by sharing this podcast with your friends. By ourselves, we can't do that much, but together, we could change the course of history. mantheyremember.com and facebook.com/mantheyremember.